Hello there, my friends. Welcome back to Timeless Wisdom, where we discuss practical ways to make your life more comfortable, easier, and yes, clutter-free. Have you ever begun to declutter only to end up feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, or perhaps a bit frustrated midway? Certainly not alone. Many of us yearn for a simpler, more organized home, but often find ourselves stuck. Whether it's holding on to items just in case, getting lost in nostalgia, or simply not knowing where to start, these challenges are common. Today, I'm here to guide you through avoiding these common pitfalls. We'll explore the 15 most significant obstacles in decluttering that complicate the process unnecessarily, and I'll share essential tips and tricks so you can confidently manage clutter, whether you're downsizing, simplifying, or just aiming to make your space safer. So, grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's transform your home into a functional, streamlined space. And if you find real-world advice like this useful, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss a tip that could simplify your life. Let's dive in. No plan one. Don't start without a plan, the most critical error leading to overwhelm. Let's discuss a common misstep. Initiating decluttering without a plan. It's tempting to wake up one morning, survey your surroundings, and decide, today's the day I tackle this clutter. You might grab a box and start randomly pulling items from various places, but soon your home looks even more chaotic than when you started. Does that sound familiar? I've been there too, and I can tell you approaching decluttering without a plan is akin to embarking on a road trip without a map. You'll waste time, expend energy, and feel drained before making any real headway. Instead, here's what you should do. First, choose a single point to start. Rather than attempting to organize an entire room, focus on one drawer, one shelf, or one cabinet. It's easier to build momentum with smaller tasks. Secondly, set a time limit. Research indicates that our brains operate optimally in 15 to 30-minute bursts before mental fatigue sets in. Slow and steady truly does win the race. Thirdly, clearly define your objectives. Are you looking to create more walking space, make items easier to find, or reduce tripping hazards? A specific goal will maintain your motivation and stave off that daunting question, where do I even begin? Intriguingly, Dr. Joseph Ferrari, a renowned expert on procrastination and decluttering, has found that people who focus on manageable, bite-sized tasks are much more likely to succeed than those who take on too much at once. Start small. One drawer today, another the next. Soon you'll notice your home becoming more organized, and the process itself will become enjoyable. Too much, too fast too. Don't try to declutter everything in one day. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Now, let's talk about another mistake that I see all too often. Trying to declutter everything in a single day. I get it. Once you decide to tidy up, you want it done right now. The idea of a clean, clutter-free home is exciting, but here's the problem. If you try to do too much at once, you'll wear yourself out before you even make real progress. Think about it. Most of us have spent decades accumulating things. Some of these items hold memories. Some have been tucked away in the back of a closet for years, and some, well, we're not even sure where they came from. Expecting to clear all of it in just one day is setting yourself up for frustration. So, what should you do instead? First, break it into small sessions. One area per day or even one per week is enough. Decluttering doesn't have to be an all-day event. Just 15 to 30 minutes at a time can work wonders. Second, take frequent breaks. I know many of us still feel young, but let's be honest, standing too long, bending down repeatedly, or sorting through heavy boxes can be exhausting. Decluttering should help you, not leave you sore and worn out. And here's the key: celebrate small wins. Every item decluttered is progress. Whether you clear a drawer, a shelf, or just a small pile of papers, it's a step in the right direction. In fact, research from behavioral scientists shows that small, consistent actions create lasting habits. When you acknowledge your progress, you're more likely to stick with the process and keep going. So, take your time, pace yourself. This isn't a race. It's a journey toward a home that feels lighter, safer, and more comfortable. Neglecting safety 3. Don't declutter without considering safety. A cluttered home can be a hidden danger. Now, here's something we don't always think about. Clutter isn't just messy. It can actually be dangerous, especially as we get older. I'll be the first to admit that we all have sentimental things lying around. Maybe it's an old footstool that's been in the family for years or a stack of magazines you've been meaning to go through. But here's the thing. Too much clutter can turn your home into an obstacle course, increasing the risk of trips and falls. Let's be honest, at our age, a fall isn't just a minor inconvenience. It can be months of recovery. A study for the NCDC shows that falls are the leading cause of injury for older adults, and many of them happen right in our own homes. That's why decluttering should always be done with safety in mind. So, how do we make our homes safer while decluttering? First, keep walkways clear. That means no piles of books, no extra chairs blocking pathways, and nothing stacked up near doorways. The easier it is to move around, the safer you'll be. Next, eliminate tripping hazards. Loose rugs, tangled cords, or random objects on the floor might not have bothered us when we were younger, but now they are serious risks. Secure those rugs, organize those cables, and make sure nothing is lying where it shouldn't be. And finally, think about accessibility. Store everyday items at waist level so you're not constantly bending down or reaching too high. A misplaced pot on a top shelf or a heavy blanket stored at the bottom of a closet can lead to unnecessary strain or an injury. Decluttering isn't just about making things look nice. It's about creating a home that works for you, not against you. All right, let's move on to the next common mistake. Decluttering guilt 4. Don't let guilt stop you from letting go. Your home should reflect your present, not just your past. Now, this one is a tough one. I know because I've struggled with it myself. Many of us have spent a lifetime gathering things that meant something to us. Gifts from loved ones, expensive purchases, souvenirs from special trips. It's not just stuff, it's pieces of our story. And that's exactly why letting go can feel so hard. But here's the truth, my friends. Holding on to something out of guilt doesn't make life easier. It makes it harder. Keeping an old armchair because it was expensive doesn't make it any more useful today. Holding on to a dress that no longer fits won't bring back the years when it did. And that set of fine china you never use, it's not serving anyone by sitting in a cabinet collecting dust. So, how do we move past the guilt and actually let go? First, remind yourself that the money is already spent. Whether you keep the item or not, you're not getting that money back. But what you can get back is your space, peace of mind, and a home that feels lighter. Second, if something holds sentimental value but you never use it, take a photo before you part with it. That way, you keep the memory without keeping the clutter. I once helped a friend let go of her late husband's old coats, not by throwing them away, but by taking photos and writing a little note about each one. She kept the memories, but freed up space in her home. And lastly, consider donating things to someone who will actually use them. Imagine the joy your rarely worn winter coat could bring to someone in need, or how much a young couple setting up their first home would appreciate that set of dishes you never use. When we pass things along, we're not just letting go, we're giving them a new purpose. At the end of the day, you deserve to live in a home that serves your current needs, not one weighed down by the past. Decluttering isn't about forgetting, it's about making room for right now. All right, let's move on to the next mistake. Don't declutter alone 5. A helping hand makes all the difference. Now, my friends, this next mistake is one I see often, and it's something I learned the hard way. Decluttering alone can be exhausting mentally and emotionally. When we're faced with deciding what stays and what goes, it's easy to get stuck, overwhelmed, or even just give up halfway through. Think about it. We're not just sorting through objects, we're sorting through memories. That old rocking chair you remember the nights you rocked your grandchild to sleep in it. That dress tucked in the back of your closet, it might not fit anymore, but oh, the stories it could tell. Before you know it, you're sitting on the floor lost in nostalgia, and not a single thing has actually been decluttered. And that's why you don't have to do this alone. Having someone there keeps you accountable, speeds up decision-making, and most importantly, makes the process feel lighter. If you struggle to decide, try the yes or no game. Have someone hold up an item and ask, keep or donate. No overthinking, no maybe pile that just sits there for months. You answer instinctively and you move forward. And if no one is available, consider joining a decluttering group either in person or online. Studies show that accountability increases motivation. When we know someone else is checking in on our progress, we're more likely to follow through. At the end of the day, decluttering isn't just about letting go of things. It's about making space for what truly matters. And sometimes a little company makes all the difference. Now, let's move on to the next mistake. Duplicate 6. Don't keep duplicates. Too much of a good thing is still too much of a good thing is still too much. Now here's a common trap we all fall into without even realizing it. Holding on to duplicates. Take a look around your kitchen. How many spatulas do you have? How about coffee mugs? Do you really need 5 different mixing bowls when you only ever use 2? It's the same with blankets, coats, shoes, and even holiday decorations. Over the years, we collect extras sometimes without even noticing. I once helped a dear friend declutter her linen closet, and we found over a dozen sets of bed sheets, some of which hadn't been touched in years. She laughed and said, "I always thought I'd need them someday." But let's be honest, how many bed sheets do we actually need? Keeping 3 or 4 is reasonable, but anything beyond that is just taking up space. So, how do we keep this from getting out of hand? First, keep only what you actually use. If you have 5 ladles but always grab the same one, let the others go. The same rule applies to coats, shoes, and sweaters. If you have multiples but only wear your favorites, it's time to downsize. Second, donate or pass extras along to someone who can use them. Maybe a grandchild just moved into their first apartment and could use some extra kitchen tools. Maybe a local charity could give those warm blankets to someone in need. And finally, follow the 1-year rule. If you haven't used something in the past year, chances are you don't need it. Less clutter doesn't mean losing comfort. It means gaining space, clarity, and ease of living. All right, let's move on to the next mistake. Bins too soon 7. Don't buy organizing bins too soon. Organizing clutter is still clutter. Now, I know this one might surprise you, but buying storage bins too soon can actually make decluttering harder, not easier. How many times have you walked through a store, seen those beautiful storage containers, and thought, "Oh, if I just add a few of these, my house would be perfectly organized"? So you buy them, bring them home, and suddenly, instead of reducing clutter, you've just boxed it up and moved it around. Here's the reality. More bins don't fix the problem of too much stuff. They just help us store things we probably don't need in the first place. So, what's the better approach? First, declutter before you buy anything. Only once you know exactly what you're keeping should you consider buying storage solutions. That way, you're choosing containers that actually fit your needs instead of just adding more things to your home. Second, use temporary solutions first. Before investing in expensive organizers, try repurposing shoeboxes, empty baskets, or even old gift boxes. This gives you time to see if you really need new containers or if you're better off just keeping less. And most importantly, focus on reducing, not just rearranging. A home filled with labeled bins and stacked storage might look tidy, but if you still have more than you need, have you truly decluttered? Remember, the goal isn't just to make clutter look prettier, it's to have less of it altogether. Guilt over gifts 8. Don't keep things just because they were gifts. A gift should bring joy, not guilt. Now this one can be tough because we've all been there. You open a gift from a loved one, smile, and say, "Oh, thank you, I love it." But deep down, you know it's not something you'll ever use. So what happens? It sits in a drawer, on a shelf, or tucked away in the back of a closet for years. Not because you need it, not because you love it, but because you feel guilty getting rid of it. But here's something to think about. A gift's purpose is to bring joy. If it's not doing that, it has already served its purpose. Keeping it out of obligation only adds to the clutter and doesn't make anyone happier, not you, not the person who gave it to you. So, how do we move past this guilt? First, appreciate the thought behind the gift, not the object itself. The kindness of a friend, the love of a family member, that's what truly matters, not the physical item. Second, ask yourself, does this item bring me joy or serve a real purpose? If the answer is no, it's okay to let it go. And third, give it to someone who will actually use it. Maybe that decorative vase would look perfect in your neighbor's home. Maybe that sweater you never wore could keep someone warm this winter. By passing it on, you're not discarding the gift, you're extending its life in a meaningful way. Remember, your home should be filled with things that serve you now, not things that sit around out of obligation. Not removing items 9. Don't forget to remove items from your home. Decluttering isn't done until it's gone. Now, let me ask you something. How many times have you gone through the effort of sorting out things to donate or throw away, only to have those piles sit in the garage, in the trunk of your car, or by the front door for weeks, maybe even months? I see this happen all the time. And trust me, I've been guilty of it myself. We feel so accomplished after decluttering, but if those unwanted items never actually leave our home, have we really finished the job? Decluttering isn't just about deciding what to keep and what to let go. It's about following through. Otherwise, all we've done is rearrange the clutter into a different pile. So how do we make sure things actually leave the house? First, schedule a drop-off date for donations. Pick a specific day, put it on your calendar, make it a commitment, and treat it like an appointment you have to keep. Second, take advantage of charity pickup services. Many organizations like Goodwill or local shelters offer free pickup for donations. A simple phone call can get those items out of your home without you lifting a finger. And finally, set a deadline, 1 week max. If something has been sitting in your garage for longer than that, it's time to take action. No excuses, no delays. Just get it out. Because let's be honest, your home won't feel lighter until the clutter is truly gone. All right, let's move on to the next mistake, just-in-case items 10. Don't save just-in-case items. The fear of what if is holding you back. Now, let's talk about one of the sneakiest clutter traps, holding on to things just in case. We've all done it. That old coffee maker in the back of a cabinet might need it someday. That stack of extra towels. What if we have guests, even though no one stayed over in years? Those outdated electronics still work, just in case my new one breaks. The truth is, just in case often means never. These items take up space, gather dust, and make it harder to find the things we actually do use. So, how do we break free from this mindset? First, ask yourself, have I used this in the past 2 years? If the answer is no, chances are you don't need it. Studies show that most people rarely, if ever, use the items they keep for what-if situations. Second, if you haven't used it, donate or discard it. Holding on to things that don't serve you now is only creating clutter and stress. And finally, trust that if you truly need it again, you can borrow or replace it. We live in a world where almost anything can be repurchased, borrowed from a friend, or even rented. But keeping every possible item for a hypothetical situation just fills your home with unnecessary stuff. Decluttering is about living for today, not hoarding for an uncertain future. All right, let's move on to the next mistake. Clothes that don't fit 11. Don't hold on to clothes that no longer fit. Your closet should work for you, not against you. Now let's talk about a tough one, holding on to clothes that no longer fit. I know it's hard to part with that dress you wore to your daughter's wedding or that suit that once made you feel sharp and confident. But let's be honest, if something doesn't fit anymore, is it really serving you? Or is it just taking up space and reminding you of what used to be? Here's the truth, our bodies change over the years and that's okay. Keeping a closet full of clothes that don't fit isn't motivation, it's frustration. It makes getting dressed in the morning harder because instead of reaching for what makes you feel good now, you're sifting through things that no longer serve you. So, what's the solution? First, only keep what's comfortable, flattering, and wearable. When you open your closet, you should see clothes that fit your life today, not a collection of maybe one-day outfits. Second, donate the clothes that no longer fit to a charity or shelter. Someone out there would love to wear what you're not using, and passing it on can bring more joy than letting it gather dust. And finally, make your closet a place of joy, not guilt. Every item should be something you actually want to wear, not something that makes you sigh and say, well, maybe if I lose 10 pounds, your closet should work for you, not make you feel bad. Declutter it, refresh it, and enjoy it. All right, let's move on to the next mistake. Neglecting daily needs 12. Don't neglect your daily needs. Decluttering should make life easier, not harder. Now, let's be clear, decluttering isn't about getting rid of everything. It's about keeping what truly serves you. But sometimes, in the excitement of creating a clutter-free home, we go a little too far. I've seen it happen. Someone donates their extra set of bed sheets, only to realize they now have nothing to change into when laundry day comes around. Or they clear out their kitchen, only to struggle later when they need a pot they gave away. Decluttering should simplify your life, not create inconvenience. So how do we find the right balance? First, keep frequently used items within easy reach. If you use something daily, it should be easy to grab. No bending, no stretching, no searching through drawers. Your home should be arranged for convenience, not just aesthetics. Second, prioritize comfort over extreme minimalism. Sure, it's nice to have clear surfaces and empty spaces, but not at the expense of your daily comfort. You don't need to live with just one pillow or one coffee mug to be clutter-free. And finally, make your home work for your current lifestyle. If you love to read, keep your favorite books nearby. If you enjoy crafting, create a space for it. Your home should support the way you live now, not some unrealistic version of how you think it should look. Decluttering is about creating a space that works for you, not against you. All right, let's move on to the next mistake. Paperwork 13. Don't forget to organize important documents. Peace of mind starts with paperwork. Now let's talk about something we don't always think of when decluttering: our important documents. I know, paperwork isn't the most exciting topic, but let me ask you this. If you needed your medical records or will or an insurance policy right now, could you find it in less than 5 minutes? Or would you be digging through drawers, stacks of mail, or mystery folders stuffed in random places? For many of us, paperwork piles up over the years. Old bills, expired warranties, receipts from decades ago. And when it's time to find something important, we're left frustrated, wasting time searching through a mess of paper. So, how do we fix this? First, create a designated file system. This doesn't have to be fancy. Just a simple filing cabinet, a binder, or even an accordion folder with labeled sections can do wonders. Second, use clearly labeled folders for different categories: bills, medical records, insurance policies, legal documents, even sentimental letters you want to keep. When everything has a place, finding what you need becomes effortless. And if you're comfortable with technology, consider scanning and digitizing important papers. That way, you'll always have a backup copy in case something gets lost or damaged. A well-organized paperwork system doesn't just reduce stress, it also gives you and your loved ones peace of mind, knowing that everything is in order when you need it. Perfectionism 14. Don't try to make your home look like a magazine. Function over perfection. This is a big one. Decluttering isn't about creating a picture-perfect home, it's about making your home work for you. We've all seen those glossy magazines and fancy home makeover shows where everything looks spotless, color-coordinated, and minimal. But let me ask you, do those homes look lived in? Well, do they look comfortable, or do they look like you'd be afraid to sit down and relax? Your home isn't a showroom, it's a place for living. So instead of trying to make everything look perfect, focus on comfort and ease of use. Arrange furniture in a way that makes moving around easier, keep your favorite cozy blanket on the couch, make sure your most used items are accessible, even if they're not Pinterest-worthy. Next, avoid trends that don't fit your lifestyle. Just because minimalism is all the rage doesn't mean you need to get rid of everything. If you love a home filled with books, family photos, and collected treasures, that's okay. Decluttering is about removing what no longer serves you, not stripping your home of personality. And finally, declutter for your happiness, not for Instagram. Your home should bring you peace, not pressure. If it feels good to you, then it's already perfect. Not enjoying it 15. Don't forget to enjoy the process, a gift to your future self. Now, my friends, let's talk about something important. Decluttering doesn't have to feel like a chore. In fact, it can be one of the most freeing things you ever do. Too often we approach decluttering with a sense of dread, like it's just another task on a never-ending to-do list. But what if instead of feeling like work, it felt like a fresh start? What if every time you let go of something you no longer need, you felt lighter and happier? So let's make this process enjoyable, not exhausting. First, put on your favorite music while decluttering. Whether it's an old jazz record, a classic country, or some good old rock and roll, It can lift your mood and make the time fly by. Next, remind yourself why you're doing this. Because having less clutter means more freedom, more space to move around, more ease in finding what you need, more time spent enjoying life instead of managing stuff, and most importantly, celebrate your progress. Even if you only declutter one shelf today, that's one less cluttered space than yesterday. Reward yourself with a cup of tea, a nice walk, or simply a deep breath, knowing you're making your home a place of peace and comfort. Decluttering isn't about getting rid of things. It's about creating a life that feels lighter and more joyful. And that, my friends, is something worth smiling about. Now, before we wrap up, let's go over some final thoughts. Final thoughts, less clutter, more freedom. My friends, the essential takeaway from our discussion is this: decluttering doesn't need to be a source of stress or overwhelm, nor is it about parting with everything you hold dear. Instead, it's about crafting a living space that truly serves your needs, a place that's easier to navigate, simpler to maintain, and filled only with items that bring you genuine joy and comfort. The approach is straightforward. Take it step by step. There's no need to rush or feel pressured, just focus on making gradual improvements towards a more pleasant and inviting home. Now, I'm curious to hear from you. Which of these common decluttering pitfalls have you encountered? Have you found yourself clinging to items out of guilt or struggled to actually clear out the clutter? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your insights enrich our community and help all of us grow. If you found this video useful, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe to Timeless Wisdom for more down-to-earth decluttering advice. I'm here to guide you through each phase of the process. Until our next session, take care, relish your space, and enjoy decluttering.